And Melanie Fatuesi is here today. She achieved her DTM in 20 months. That definitely requires some goal setting. She's here today to help teach us how to set goals, as well as how to improve our relationships through goal setting. Her motto is teamwork makes the dream work. Please help me welcome Melanie Fatuesi.
So let me ask you, how many of you have a goal-setting system that you use? Can I see by a show of hands? How many of you are still not reaching your goals with that goal-setting system? How many of you would like a new goal-setting system that works sooner or later? All right, we're going to do that today. My name is Melanie Fatuesi. I come from Flint, Michigan, the town of General Motors. I come from blue-collar workers. Both of my parents worked for GM. I first started goal setting at a very young age, coming from a broken home, and I know most of you can relate to that, with family struggles and things, and I actually had to finish high school on welfare. So I am an advocate for public assistance because I would not have made it out of high school. I was living with a family, and when I graduated, they said, we're moving. So through different turns of events, I ended up in the Army. So that's what we're going to talk about, the seasons and weathering the storm. Because I had to weather the seasons to get to the end of high school so I could start my life. I had to weather the period of time between high school and when the Army would take me in November. And I had to develop these skills at a very young age so that I wouldn't end up as a statistic as a single mom with 3 kids on welfare for the rest of my life. And that happens to people because they somehow don't get the right support system, the right belief systems in place. And it wasn't until much later in life that I discovered that I actually did have a system unbeknownst to me. And when I found that, I was like, wow, this is really awesome. I want to help other people achieve their goals. So, the hula hoop. Who in here can hula hoop? A few of you. I promise you by the end of this seminar, almost all of you will be able to hula hoop. Is that something that we can all be interested in?
Yeah.
All right. So I was in the audience yesterday, and Arturo said, I can't hula hoop, and he so graciously said that he would be my demonstrator. So let's give him a round of applause. And I promise you we have not practiced. Now just know, whatever you do now has to be better by the end.
Well, that's the whole reason I tried it many years ago, and
It's winding up.
Oh, we might be in trouble. Let's get some more hip motion. Okay, that's better, that's better. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of coaching. Let's give him a round of applause. You know, you ever go to like these parties and they have hula hoop contests? You're like, I'm gonna do it. You can't do it. So about a month ago, I said, okay, I'm gonna do this goal setting seminar about and I'm gonna learn how to hula hoop. I went and bought my hula hoop, and I started practicing, and that's about as good as I got, and I started practicing. Okay, that was a lot better than the first day. So we'll see if I can hula hoop by the end of my seminar. All right. So goal setting for the seasons. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with SMART goals, and that's when you have it measurable and you time stamp it, and that's all wonderful when you're selling Girl Scout cookies, that's what I say. Because the realities of life are time comes and time goes. And so it's being able to weather the seasons and knowing that it might take you a little bit longer. And what do the seasons look like? Fall, that's when you're planting your seeds. And just so you know, don't get too worried about taking notes for the note takers. I mean, I know some people just like to take notes. I am going to give you handouts at the end, but just to relieve that pressure. So in the fall, you're planting seeds. In the winter, you're cultivating your seeds. In the spring, you're growing your crops. In the summer, you're reaping the harvest. So when I'm coaching people, I like to explain, if Mother Nature can change the whole entire earth every 90 days through the seasons, you have the power inside you to change your life every 90 days. But the reality is, some seasons last longer than others depending on where you live. If you live in El Paso, you spend a lot of time in summer, right? We should be reaping huge harvests in El Paso. Maybe that's why we have so much. If you need to reach your goals, move to El Paso. That's the one. And so the big takeaway for today is these are the seasons, and your life goes through seasons. But sometimes seasons last longer than they're supposed to. Does anyone know anyone from Michigan? Yeah, lots of hands are. How about their winter last year? Do you think they were thinking that was going to happen? Absolutely not. It was a long winter. And so if you were goal setting, you're spending that, the cultivating, the taking care of, the nurturing of your goals. And you know, you're like, wow, I have been working on this goal forever and it's not happening. And you just got to hang in there and wait for the season to change. So the name of my system is the WH. You know, the whole thing when you're writing these programs, you're trying to come up with cute acronyms, it ain't happening here, so just get over it. So the first W is the what, and the second W is the why. Because I'm here to tell you, if you don't know why you're doing it, you're never going to do it, you're never going to reach it, and you're never going to accomplish it. And if someone else is your reason why, because they're pushing you as their goal, you're probably still not going to reach it. And the last one is the how. And we got to hit our targets, right? Oops. Wait, I'm ahead of myself. Pretend I didn't see that. It happens. This is live. If you have a water gun, who has a water gun? Hold up your water gun. If you have a water gun, you have to participate. Okay.
Yeah, Alice.
Now, any other person try and hit your target.
What?
Exactly. See, I blew it. That's all right. All right, I need a round of applause to get me back on track. Okay. All right. Bottom line is, you can't hit a target you can't see, right? So you got to get your targets in front of you. All right? And how you do that is by writing it down. So on the outside of your target is your how. Because after you go through the rest of the process, the how becomes so simple. Next is the what. You have to know what you want to achieve. Why are you here? What are you looking for? What is your purpose? But the most important, why am I doing it? Because if you know why you're doing it, you can make it through. How many of you have seen The Pursuit of Happiness? Amazing, amazing story. This gentleman ends up homeless with his son. They end up spending nights in public bathrooms with the door locked, living in a homeless shelter so that he could become a stockbroker on the stock exchange. His why was so huge, and he had people that believed in him. And to this day, he is still a multimillionaire because he had a why and he had a vision. So let's talk about the mindset. And for our military people there, I was a veteran. I am a veteran. I was active duty for 6 years. I served in Somalia. I was in Cuba. I was all over the world. And for those of you that know Gary Brown from El Paso, I never really tie all my travels into the military with him. He just thinks somehow I was like, led some glamorous life, and that's how I went from the world. But mindset is everything. You have to be in the right mindset, and your mind shifts throughout your life and throughout your 90-day cycle. You have to start with the end in mind. So whatever you're beginning, you need to know what it's going to look like, kind of, at the end, right? So she shared with you that I became a DTM in 20 months. I absolutely had to start with the end in mind. People are like, how did you do that? I had a vision. And I had everything in place except for I wasn't a district officer. I was sitting at a TLI and I heard these two gentlemen talking and they said the area governor had quit, and I said, I'll take it. Be ready, be available, because whatever you don't need will appear if you are available to it. And that was the piece that I needed, and I made myself available for it, and it appeared. And they were going, who are you? All right, we'll take you on the pulse. Write it down. Isn't that the truth? Write it down, write it down, write it down. If you've ever heard of Napoleon Hill, he writes a book, Think and Grow Rich. The whole premise of that book is write it down, read it daily, read it 5 times a day. Your subconscious will start trying to solve that problem for you. I can remember being in this audience when I was a young Toastmaster at 6 months, and I was like, God, I want to be up there. I'd rather talk than listen. How do I do that? And I put my name in, and they didn't pick me. They picked Dr. Mitchell, and I was like, of course. And then TK called, and she's like, hey, would you like to present? And I was like, yes. And she's like, are you going to do a goal setting? I'm like, sure. And then I had to figure it out, right? So don't be afraid to say yes. But it was a goal, and it was something that I kept in front of me, was to present to Toastmasters. So it is truly my honor that you selected me today to spend this time together, and I'm truly humbled and know that you helped me reach one of my goals. Visualize yourself as if. Jack Canfield in the Success Principles, Jack Canfield wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, but he also wrote this amazing book called The Success Principles. And what he says is when you write down your goals, write them down as if you've already got it. Okay? And this is the other thing that he says that I love, because, you know, like, who doesn't want more money? Like, I want to have $100,000 in income next year or more, right? Don't forget that, or more. Don't limit your dream. Like, let it be bigger than what your vision is, and just send that out there. So do it, visualize as if. Tell other people your goals. I tell this to people all the time. You can either fail in private, or you can succeed in public. So those poor people that are in Northeast Toastmasters can tell you while I was working on this DTM that I was going to do in 18 months, by the way, and it took me 20 months, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Every single time I wrote my introduction, it was, Melanie Fatuesi, she has this much left, and she's going to be in DTM in 18 months. And, you know, and it was just this whole, and it got to be where I think they thought I already had it because I talked about it so much. But it's talking about it and sharing it with people, but avoid the negative people. And we all know we have those people in our lives, right? The ones that are going to steal your dreams and stomp on it. And if you are a person that does that to other people, stop. And when I coach people, I say it's not my place to tell you your dream isn't worthy. That's your place. So if you tell me you're going to build a ladder to the moon, I'm going to say, okay, what do you think your obstacles are? Let's start working through this problem, right? I'm not here to tell you your dream can't be reached, your goal can't be reached. I'm here to help you knock down obstacles and let's make it happen. And Be People's Cheerleaders is amazing. It is so amazing. But here's my biggest thing that I learned, and that where I could finally put a label on my goal setting system, is be a realist. And I read the book In Love of War by Admiral Scottsdale. And he was a prisoner of war in World War II. And they asked him, sir, who made it out? You had the optimist, you have the pessimist, and you have the realist. Who made it out? He said, well, obviously the pessimists didn't make it out because they already knew once they were captured they were never going to make it out. And he was like, you would think the optimists made it out, but this is what happened. I'm going to be out by Christmas. We're time stamping. Christmas comes and goes. They're still prisoners of war. I'm going to make it out by Easter. Easter comes and goes. And they're still a prisoner of war. They died of a broken heart. Don't let your dreams die of a broken heart. There's a gentleman back here. I'm going to pick on him, Robert. He has thought about being a Toastmaster for 50 years. He hasn't joined the club yet. He came to the first timers meeting, and we talked about it. I introduced him to Bill Steele, who's been in Toastmasters for about 50 years. He's had amazing conversations and the great energy, and he's already started writing his first speech. So keep your dreams. Sometimes you have to dust them off. But this is what he said about the realist. The realist said, I am going to get out sooner or later. So if I had time-stamped my DTM and said, it is going to happen in 18 months, that's my original goal, and it is important to have a time on it, and then the 18 months came and I hadn't achieved it because other things got in the way, a child. You guys have kids? Do they hold you back sometimes? Oh, we love them. But it's more important that they get to school. I don't know why. But if I had been so determined that it just had to be that and nothing else, I I still would not be finished. So what happened is the 18-month mark came and I went, what happened? And I think everyone, honestly, I think everyone thought that I had already finished. So I sat down with some of my mentors and I said, okay, let's figure out what do I need. And there was like 3 things. And they had just escaped me somehow. Somehow they didn't get on the piece of paper. I didn't know that they were there, whatever. And I spent the next 2 months working to finish those 2 things so that I could at least have it done before another year went by. Seasonal review, every 90 days. 90 days is a season, right? So you're going to write down your goals, and every 90 days you're going to at least look at them if you didn't. But here are the 7 focus areas, and this is where I feel that my goal setting system is a little different. Because if you think of it as a spoke on a wheel, you know, you have to have lots of spokes to keep your wheels going. So if you get so focused in one area, your wheel is going to collapse. And you're not going to be able to keep it running. Spiritual is the first one. Now, everyone has different religions, different faiths, different things. And sometimes when I'm talking to people, they're like a superstar spiritually somewhere. And this is what I'll ask them. Have you ever thought about mentoring a young person who just became of whatever faith you are? And they're like, I never thought of that. Or have you ever thought of getting in front of people and sharing how you've maintained your walk? You know? So whatever it is, wherever you are, have a goal in this area and keep it in front of you. And it doesn't matter what religion you are or what it is for you spiritually. Maybe it's just going out and looking at the stars at night or appreciating nature. But have that in your focus. Family. So many times, and I think that people think that this is a politically correct answer. I say, what is the most important thing to you? Family. And they're never at home. They're always working, they're always volunteering, they're always everywhere except for with their family. So how can that be your goal? How can that be your goal if when your spouse calls you don't even answer the phone? How can that be your goal when your kid is in sports or marching band or whatever and you've never even attended? So if that's truly a goal for you, make it a priority and get it on your list. Figure out what it is that you want it to look like and why. And my son is a huge part, and I did really good in that area, but somehow I lost my parents. I moved away at 18, so when I started doing this, family was important to me, but they live in Michigan. I had my parents on an every other day rotation. Call my dad one day, call my mom the next day, call my dad one day. And I had it written out, and I was tracking it because I wanted a better relationship with my parents. Now I have them on a 3-day rotation because they said, we love you, but you're too much. All right. Physical. Now, another thing that people do is they say, I want to be XYZ, and they're comparing themselves to some like marathon runner. That is not all of our physical goals. Be happy with who you are and what you look like and what it is for you, but strive for a physical, healthy body, whatever that is. And for a lot of people, it's just drinking water. I just heard some statistic about like how much of our body is made up of water and how we're all so dehydrated and our organs get the water first and how it's just shutting down our bodies. So if you're like, you know what, I don't care what you say, I'm never going to exercise, I'm never going to diet. Good. I encourage you because the most important thing is that you're happy. And if that's what makes you miserable, then don't do it. But if that's what makes you happy, do it and don't feel bad about it. But the one thing I would say, if you have no goal in this area, have it to be drink more water. Because that will help your brain work better. And we all want our brains to work better, I think, most of the time. Unless you're hanging out with Sarah at night. Career. When I talk about this, there's people that have retired. You know what? When you retire, you're still in the career. There's still something that you have to offer. We had a young man in our Toastmasters group that's 18 years old. He is now on away to college. And it was amazing to hear him speak. He shared one of the most powerful speeches I have ever heard in Toastmasters. He stood in front of this room, average age about 60, and said, you say youth is wasted on the young. I say wisdom is wasted on the old. You sit there and you judge me for how I dress, who I am, and what I want to be, but you never spend time talking to me. So think about that. when you're thinking about your career, think about how you want to move forward. And if you're like, I'm done with my career, I'm where I want to be in my career, find someone to mentor in your field of expertise that you can bring forward and replace yourself in this world. Because there's some hip hopster with their pants falling down that needs you, believe it or not. Financial. That's a scary one, isn't it? Very few people are where they want to be financially, but it's because we never write it down. Who even keeps the check buildings? Who even keeps a check registry? Okay, Toastmasters are so much better than most groups that I talk to. I want to be our friends. We're doing it virtually in our minds, and it's like, ooh, that didn't quite work out right. Like my son, it's like a huge place where I failed was financially. I mean, he does really good, but he doesn't have the skills to like balance it. I like took a class in school, and I was listening to Darren Hardy speak, and he was talking about how he took a secretary that was making $40,000 a year and taught her how to become independently wealthy. She said, I could never save 10%. He goes, we're going to start with 1%. First thing she did was give up coffee outside of brewing it herself. They calculated how much she spent a month. That money went into a separate bank account. The next thing was bring your lunch to work, which I don't know. Sometimes that can be more expensive than buying it, but I'm just saying. And so he taught her all these little things to put in place, but to take that money and put it somewhere else. And before she knew it, she was debt-free. And I mean, it was a 5-year period, but again, in goal setting, we have to weather the seasons, right? We backslide sometimes because we need new shoes, right? It happens, lip gloss, ties, whatever. But have a financial vision, because the worst thing that can happen is you get to retirement and you can't retire. And I see that happening more and more. And Susie Orman will tell you, don't pay for your kids' college unless you're totally invested and debt-free. So my poor son, he's at Stanford University, and he is on his own. It's $62,000 a year, and I do not help him at all. He has a scholarship, and he has some other things in place, and he knows, you know what? You have the rest of your years to work. So before you're trying to save other people, make sure you have your stuff in place so that when you are ready to retire, you can retire. Okay, intelligence. Intellectual. See, you have to be able to read. Intellectual. Okay, let me talk about this. Personal and professional development. Everybody here, you're investing in yourselves. Let's give everybody a round of applause for being here. So many times people stop learning after they graduate high school or college, they never read another book. Read. Leaders are readers. And if you don't like to read, attend seminars. Someone will talk to you and you'll get everything that you need to know. Surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. If you are continuously the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong crowd. I am always with people who are much more intelligent than me, and that's when I don't talk a lot because I don't want them to know. They might kick me out of the room. So invest in yourself, and I would say 10% of your income, invest in you. Going to Toastmaster conferences, going to other conferences, reading books, you know, whatever it looks like, social. And I don't mean socializing necessarily. We all have a social responsibility, just like I was talking to, mentoring someone, volunteering somewhere. A lot of the Toastmasters in El Paso helped me with my high performance leadership. We started a speech club in a prison. And it's still going, and we go and help them with mock interviews because the statistics are that these people that are released are right back in. So we want to help give them tools so that when they come back into our community, they're better prepared socially to have a positive impact where we live. So think about what organization can you help out, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, something you belong to, a nursing home that you can add value to your community. The best way to feel better about yourself is to help somebody else. Why do people fail to reach their goals? Distractions are obstacles. It's too hard, I can't do it. Kids, distractions, spouses, jobs. So we have these wonderful goals, and then the seasons go by, and it's been 2 seasons, and we check in on our goals, and we're like, wow, I wrote those down, and that was the last time I looked at them. So yes, those are real. Low energy or lack of focus. We get tired so many times. People say, I'm so tired. And it's true, but you know, you gotta manage what you're doing. That's another one, time management. Maybe I'll give that next time. Insufficient skills. Did I say that right?
Insufficient.
Yeah, okay. Insufficient knowledge. lack of belief in yourself and your goals. So let's talk about this. Let's see what the next one is. Inadequate, non-existent support. Okay, so let's talk about lack of skill and lack of knowledge. So as you all know, I want a hula hoop, right?
Right.
And Arturo wants to hula hoop, right?
Right. Yeah.
Woo. He's never going to hula hoop if this is all we got. Come on, let's do better. And Arturo wants to hula hoop, right? Woo. So taking my own advice, I went to YouTube. I turned on YouTube. I had my hula hoop in hand, and I'm going to hula hoop in 30 days. I hit YouTube, and this lady comes on from Canyon Hula Hoop Company, and she says, before you start hula hooping, it is important that you have the proper equipment. If you're trying to hula hoop with a child's hula hoop, you're probably not going to be successful. Your hula hoop should come about to your puppy level. So, I called my friends at Canyon Hula Hoop, and I got me a hula hoop.
All right.
Some assembly required. I should have put silver on it for you guys today. And now I have proper equipment. I got my hula hoop. I assumed the position. And I am a hula hoop. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay.
And then back and forth. Wiggle those hips. All right. You can do it.
Oh,
Come on. I'm counting on you. This is being filmed.
So just back and forth.
Just like you were doing it before. You're doing great. Oh, no. The other direction. Let's try again.
It was better last time.
Yeah! But I guarantee you, within 10 minutes, I could have him hula hooping like an expert.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Please see afterwards, and you can try the magic hula hoop, and it will work. And I really did just put him on the spot, and we didn't practice, and he did a great job. And I promise you it worked. So, how many of you are trying to reach goals that you don't even have the skills or the knowledge to reach? And if you just watched a video, had a coach, assembled yourself around the right people, then you can knock that goal out so quick. So we put our goals on the shelf so many times. And another big reason, number one reason why people fail to reach their goals, they have no idea why they're doing it. Have you ever done that? You're like, what am I doing? Why am I here? What am I doing this for? You have absolutely no idea. 7 tips to reach your goals faster, because that's important. Reduce your responsibilities. Remember we talked about low energy? Whose monkeys are you carrying? You're carrying monkeys that aren't your monkeys. And if you're anywhere around me and you don't have a plan, trust me, you're carrying my monkeys. And a lot of us are, it's like, you know, the people who just pass everything to you because you keep saying yes. Okay, everybody say this word really loud. No!
No!
Say it with conviction. No! No! Okay, that is applicable everywhere but Toastmasters. You're vowed to say yes when you're called upon. Okay, reduce your responsibilities. There are so many things that you're doing that really serve no purpose in your life. Get rid of it. Stop doing it. You know, your girlfriend calls and she wants to go to lunch, and you're in the middle of working on some big important PowerPoint presentation that you have to give in 2 days. Tell her no. Your cell phone rings. It is a choice, not an obligation to answer it. Okay? Text messages don't have to be answered immediately. Do it, delay it, or dump it. So you either need to do it, delay it, or dump it. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're delaying it, just dump it. So write out your priority list of what you need to do to get your goal done. And if you're looking at it and you're just like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, it's not, you know, your why's not big enough. You're keeping yourself away from something you truly want to achieve by agonizing over something that really is not that important to you. So get rid of it. Be flexible but focused. And again, this goes back to time. Because it's never going to look, if you've ever seen like what people think the path to success is, they think it's a straight line. But if you really know what the path to success is, you know it kind of goes like this, and up like here, and down over there. It never looks like it. It never looks like it does in your head. So be flexible or you will break. It's very important. Find the joy in the process. Honestly, first time I've ever done PowerPoint, didn't really want to do PowerPoint. TK said, are you going to have PowerPoint? I was like, never done PowerPoint, better do it. But what I did was I got people who did it, and we had a great time. I had a great time. I think they were a little stressed out. Because I could go, no, let's switch that. No, let's switch that. But find joy in the process. You know, it wasn't that I like got this DTM in 20 months and I was all stressed out running around like a crazy woman. I had a lot of opportunities to speak, and I just have found people to be around me to help me do it, that I enjoyed their company, that they were willing, and we really did it together. If you're achieving your goals by yourself, you're not going to have a lot of joy, unless you are a people person, but that may be. So find joy in the process, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than when you reach your goal and you're like, that's it. It was more fun when I was halfway through my goal. So enjoy the process, because that's the best part. Assemble a team. I was ahead of myself. Assemble a team. Just to get this room set up today, Athena helped me, Bonnie helped me, Byron helped me, Bill helped me. Who else was in here? Tim's back there. Tim's still helping me. Skip checked on me, Natalie checked on me. So there's one person standing in front of you, and our photographer, who I'm so sorry I forgot your name. Natisha, taking our photos. How wonderful. So it doesn't matter that there's one person standing up here. What matters is that it was a team effort. And it's, if you assemble the team, you will have such much greater success than if you're trying to achieve it yourself. Get a coach. Tiger Wood has coaches. So many times I've had a coach. I still have a life coach. I coach other people. It's important to get a coach. Get an expert in the field. And I'm going to work with you, Artur, and we're going to hula hoop before the day is over. Get the proper equipment. So as you see how invaluable that is to have the proper equipment. We're trying to reach our goals of digging this big hole and we're using a spoon. Where if we just went and got a backhoe, we could accomplish our mission. So a 20-year goal, that's my brother and I running my first marathon. It was a goal when I was 18 years old. And I'll tell you what, I was in a lot better shape at 18 than I was 2 years ago at 42 when I finally did it. I thought it was unattainable, and I was talking to David, and he was talking about thinking that DTM is so unattainable. We think that these things that we want to do in our life are for other people. Whatever it is in your head and in your heart that you want to do, it is meant for you. I got a coach. She said, if you can run 3 miles without stopping in 18 weeks, you can run a marathon. At that point in my life, I could run 3 miles. I don't know if I could today. 18 weeks, we found a marathon. It was in Nashville. I signed up for it. And unfortunately, the lady who was coaching me got hurt halfway through it, and she thought I was going to quit. I was like, oh no, we're halfway there. We're going. My brother was living in Michigan. He started training with me. See, I started assembling my team. I flew to Nashville. My mom, my sister, my brother, my coach, all came with me. So it took me 20 years to actually start working on the goal. Even though I had written it down, my girlfriend, when I finished, she's like, I remember you having that written on your mirror. But I didn't have someone who said, I believe in you, you can do this, and I'm going to show you how. Yay! Reaching a goal in 20 months. There we go. Amazing, yeah! I had such a huge why for this. Many layers of why. Okay. I didn't go to a college where I got initials after my name, and all of a sudden I'm in this world where everybody's PhD, MD, MBA, blah, 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 and I'm like, what am I? And I was like, ooh, I could be a DTM. And when you put DTM and you're not with a bunch of Toastmasters, everybody thinks you look really smart. I've never seen that degree before. So it was a huge motivating factor for me to be able to put initials after my name. Again, I would rather talk than listen. So that was a huge motivating fact. And you know what? I wanted to prove to myself that I could. So many times we believe the lies that other people tell us. I had a teacher in school. Do I have any teachers in the room? A couple. Okay, everybody's been taught by somebody, and so everyone can be equally appalled. It was my senior year, it was in science, again, I was on welfare. Sometimes I was sleeping in my car. He told me, "You'll never amount to anything." And I know that everybody has heard that somewhere in the world. It's a lie. Whatever it is that you need to achieve to prove that to yourself, do it. So I proved it to myself, and so now I'm like, I don't need to set goals. Goals are important lifelong. So those people with their water guns, do you think you can hit the target now that you can see it? The target's up here. Do you have equipment failure?
I don't think I have a problem.
Do you have any water? Pour coffee in it. Okay, if you have a water gun, reach under your chair.
Water gun. Water gun.
Hold your target and see if you can't hit it now.
Hit it, Alice, hit it. Yeah, here.
Yeah, all right, good job. We can't hit our target because we don't have it written down, so we can't see it. We don't know why, so we can't see it. We don't have the right people, the right equipment, the right anything, so we can't see it. So Bonnie is going to pass out some some papers, and it is the PowerPoints on there, but also, Bonnie, can I have that piece? So as I explained to you, I do life coaching. So if any of you are interested in coaching, I do have a special price for Toastmasters. I also am going to start a Get Focused on Your Goals call, and that's going to be every Thursday night in November, December, and January. Don't wait till January to start working on your goals. And I'm also in the process of writing a book. So I have to have some people, please. You have to buy into this book because it's 80% done, and without you, I'll probably never finish it. So I need you guys to be part of my team. So I'm going to go ahead and end with this. I encourage you, on there you have everything that you need to start working on your goals. Before you leave this weekend, have at least your what. Start working on your why. The how will come. The who will come. Don't leave here this weekend and not have your goals in mind. Toastmasters are a wonderful support system. And for no other reason to be in Toastmasters is to get the support that you need to move your life forward. My name is Melanie Paltuesi. It's been my honor and privilege to be with you today, and I will be here to answer any questions for the next couple hours.
There are some evaluation forms, if everyone can please fill those out, and Melanie will be available after. Yay, we all have another round of applause.